Welcome back to Fast Money. It was another cringe day for crypto. Digital currencies sold off again today, with Bitcoin closing back in on the 20,000 mark. The flagship crypto has plunged nearly 70% from its all-time high last November. Meantime, Ether sits nearly 80% below its record high. So where's the bottom line? We got to go to BK on this. You have been short Bitcoin. Where do you stand now?
I am still short. Not as short as I used to be, but I am still short. So what we have going on here is crypto's 2008 moment. Very similar things happened in crypto that happened during the great financial crisis. And what we still have is collateral that was pledged in multiple different areas that is now impaired, leverage upon leverage upon leverage, distressed buyers, and that combination has not been cleared yet. So until that is cleared, it is going to be hard for crypto to bottom. And I just don't think it's here.
There's also, I don't want to say an implosion, but a contraction in the money backing upstart sort of Bitcoin-related firms, cryptocurrency firms. And I'm wondering how that plays out in that there aren't as many developers, maybe developing platforms, developing applications, using these networks and these platforms. And maybe that doesn't help, the cryptocurrencies themselves.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when I think about cryptocurrencies, it's a network effect. That's really what you're buying here. Similar to how you're buying Facebook early and thinking, okay, at some point they're going to have 1 billion users. You're buying crypto and thinking at some point there's going to be 1 billion users. But if you get in an environment like this, where everybody's been hurt during this downturn, and you have people being laid off, and there's not venture capital money to have the new products, that's going to hurt your network effect. Now, to be clear, I do have a very bullish view over the next 5 to 10 years on Bitcoin. It's just we have to get through this period of time before we can say, all right, all clear.
Yeah, it's interesting. BK obviously wrote the book in 2014. He has clearly forgotten more than I'll ever know. But I'll say this, and we've been pretty steadfast. Bitcoin was created, in my opinion, this fear that central banks run amok, and they were right to create it on the back of that. These Bitcoin ballers out there, they never saw central banks try to be responsible until November of last year. And I don't think it's coincidental at all that Bitcoin topped out the same time our Federal Reserve pivoted. Now when you see the Swiss National Bank out of nowhere seemingly raise rates, and now global central banks raising rates, that speaks to them trying to be responsible. Not coincidental. Now Bitcoin is seeing levels we haven't seen in 3 years. These central banks will pivot at some point. I think BK agrees with that. And when they do, that to me will be the green light to get into Bitcoin.
So Dan earlier, BK, revealed that he bought some Ethereum. And so I'm wondering, what will make you, BK, step in and put some money to work in buying cryptocurrencies versus the positions that you currently have?
Yeah. So I think there's two things that I'm looking for. Number one is what Guy just said, some sort of panic and or pivot on the front of the central banks. That's number one, or them doing something that just breaks markets. Then you need an alternative currency. What they're doing right now, particularly with the Bank of Japan, is absolutely choosing, to fight inflation at the expense, fight inflation at the expense of their currencies, and they're torching their currencies. So that is a catalyst. So I need that to happen. I need central banks to panic and say, wait, we need growth now all of a sudden. And then number two, I need this leverage to be flushed out of the system. And we'll probably see that, I don't know, but if I had to guess right now, maybe 15,000 on Bitcoin is probably a place where I'd start to look and say, did the leverage get flushed out, and how close are we to central banks panicking?
Hey, BK, it's Karen. You had talked a couple of weeks ago about not wanting to get long Bitcoin until you felt like the NASDAQ sell-off was over. Do you have a particular level in mind that would make you be a Bitcoin buyer?
Yeah, so right now, based on my particular valuation model, between 12 to 18,000 is kind of a fair value, or I should say that is a cheap value for Bitcoin based on the network effect. So somewhere around those levels. Now, what's interesting is most of the year, the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ has been running at 80%. That's dropped down into the mid-50s right now. So you're starting to see a break in the correlation, which I view as positive.